It is the Brink coming to you for back-to-back episodes for the first time in I can't even remember how long, but it's an exciting time to be alive if that is the case. And it's also an exciting time to be alive when I'm not by myself and I can move the microphone over to the left of me and you can hear this voice.
Hello.
Who are you? What is your name?
I don't know. I'm a person.
You're just some person. Is your name perhaps Mallory?
Maybe.
What's your last name now?
Waterworth?
Oh, look at that. Did you finally find out that you're actually related to me?
Yep.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. Mallory's alive and well, and she is currently playing, as often is the case when Mallory's on this show. She's obviously distracted by something else, but what are you playing right now?
Okay, wait.
She's playing, the game's not actually called Okay Wait. She's pushing a giant orb of some variety. I don't actually know what this is. What is this game called?
It is called Phoenix Rising.
And what do you have to do when it comes to Phoenix Rising?
Kill some things and make the gods happy and... yeah.
Kill some things, make the gods happy, and yep. Can you describe exactly what you were doing right now as you were playing?
I am trying to figure out this, puzzle. It's a maze, kind of. And then all of these different, I have to use different balls to... Give me a sec.
Wow, snappy. She's pushing a ball.
To make the maze work, essentially.
Basically what I can see she's doing, she's pushing a giant ball into different slots, and then it looks like she's going to push it up in the wind and it's going to fly up there, and so you have to get how many balls to make this maze work, do you know?
I don't know. I for sure have 2 that I can use.
It's very hard to explain exactly what she's doing. And tell us a little bit about the character that you created. How do you think she sounds?
I say that she has a porn star voice, because she totally does.
And what sort of effort did you put when it came to actually creating this character? Can you describe what your character looks like?
She is a redhead in a little, purple dress. Yep.
A redhead with purple dress. Cool. Very explanatory there. And are you enjoying this game?
Yes, I'm very into it. Much more into it than I feel like I normally get.
Much more into it than this podcast right now?
No.
No. Okay. How many levels have you actually done on this game?
I've done the prologue.
Cool. All right.
I don't think I've gotten any further than that, have I?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
I know that I've finished the prologue, for sure.
Awesome. And do you know what exactly, once you create or complete this maze, what will happen here? I can see there's colourful things and there's a giant beam of light. Also looks like you're in space. So, I mean, what is the goal here of completing this maze?
Once I get through the maze, I will get a beam of lightning, like Zeus's lightning.
And that makes you special?
I don't know what it does yet. I'm not far enough.
Awesome sauce. Well, we will keep attuned to this specifically and kind of what it is you're doing. The ball just floated up very high in the sky. We have an exciting episode today. We have a couple of interviews coming your way that brand new interviews, as we're making 2021 a very special year by bringing back, I don't want to say exclusive interviews because they're not exclusive, but new interviews that you've never heard that we've done specially for this podcast. And I'm going to throw to one of them right now, and we're going to come back with Mallory a little bit later. Pleasure to welcome our next guest here to the Brink, an emerging star here in Canada who, I shouldn't really say emerging, when you've got 1.5 million career streams, that's not emerging, you're pretty prominent, I think, out there. Her name is Mauve, and she's just got a brand new single out that has just come out. It's called Starting Over, which I'm very excited to learn a little bit more about this song, her career, and some other things to go over on this interview. So to welcome to the Brink right now, Mauve, first of all, thanks for joining me today. It's a pleasure to chat with you.
Hello there. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to meet you, and thank you so much for having me.
It's most welcome to have you on here. And as I said, when you got 1.5 million streams, I think emerging artist doesn't really come out that way. I mean, I could release a song tomorrow, classify myself as an emerging artist. Don't think I'm going to get 1.5 million streams, but That must be nice to hear that. I can imagine every time you hear 1.5 million streams, you're like, okay, doing this is pretty much worth it. I like hearing that.
Exactly. It definitely makes all of the hard work pay off when you know how the music is reaching people, and just to hear that number, despite all of the work that went behind it, it's just like, yes, it's like we're doing it.
It definitely pays off. But as I said, the brand new song Starting Over just dropped a couple of days ago. And as an artist, that's always the most exciting moment, isn't it? You've put all this effort into that song, all the countless hours of writing, producing, recording, and then it's out there. The fans can listen to it. So, I mean, what's that moment like when finally people out there after such teasing can listen to the song?
It feels amazing, especially with a song like this one. I kind of had it like in my belt for a little while, which I haven't like recorded it, but I knew it was a song that I wanted to have as my next single. So it's nice to finally have like the finished product after just having it, starting off in voice notes on my phone, to just writing the lyrics out, to have that final product along with like the music video and all of that. It's just nice to say, here you go, world. This is what I made.
Take a listen to it, which I can imagine from starting just as a couple of voice notes. Is that how you generally work when it comes to writing new songs? Kind of have an idea pop in your head, have something you want to express into a song and just kind of build it from that moment?
Yeah, it does. It starts with, either an intense feeling that I'm going through that I'm wanting to express, which was what's going on with this song, and just getting kind of those flavors popping into my head of different melodies of how I can picture it going. So then I usually just go to the piano at that point and start messing around with different chords, piecing together the song structure. So yeah, it is a very organic process with each step of building it into, that full song afterwards.
I know every artist is different and answers this question differently, but is it a case of you prefer to write the words first or the melody first, or is it really different from each song?
It really depends. Like, it's not something I choose necessarily, just kind of whatever comes to me. So I don't just kind of sit and say, okay, I'm just going to start writing lyrics. It's kind of just something that grows in my head that I just kind of follow along and just, do the best I can just to, make it into that vision that I kind of see it coming in towards.
With Starting Over, it's a song that you've mentioned that anyone who's ever loved anyone can relate to the lyrics, trying hardest and not knowing if you still have a fight in you. And I also saw your tweet as well, where you mentioned about getting exhausted with the same cycle repeating over and over again. Now, probably a personal question here, Mauve, but I mean, is this based on anything recently, or is this just a build-up of things? Can I ask you those questions?
Yeah, well, this isn't like a recent kind of emotion I went through, but I would say, maybe 2 years ago is kind of where this song birthed out of, as to what I was going through. And I just kept adding on to it, just kind of sticking with that same feeling of going to that heartache that I was going through, and just, that feeling where it's like, you think it's going to work out. It's like, I have hope. But then after investing all of this time and energy into this person, it turns out, they weren't thinking the same thing. So it does, show that kind of exhausting energy that you get after having to start over basically. And, have to start a connection with someone different basically.
Which it's always a weird positive that I guess an artist like yourself can have from that situation, is that you can put it to words, come up with a song that other people can enjoy and then relate to. Not that there's ever a positive in going through a situation like that, but, every cloud has a silver lining. Isn't that what we're always taught? And I guess this is the case for a singer.
Exactly. And it does have that silver lining because that other people are going to be able to connect with the song as well, and hopefully interpret into whatever situation they're going to. And that's the beauty of music, is that sometimes I don't even write songs that are based on my personal experiences, but maybe off of the personal experiences of someone who's going through another intense situation. So I may feel inspired by their story. So it just, establishes that connection with them, and being able to, show like, I understand how you're feeling, and just being able to express that through sound.
And I can imagine when you start off with music, I believe you started off at a quite young age, Mauve, that, I mean, when you're sort of learning and developing that technique through playing music, writing songs and everything, it's not something I can imagine comes to you straight away. I mean, when you're young, you maybe haven't gone through the experiences you do as you get older. So whereas you're writing about certain things when you're starting out to kind of going through these life experiences, and it's going to continue that way, I can imagine, the older and older you get as well.
Yeah, especially with songwriting. I have my songs that I wrote like 10 years ago, and then I listen back to them. It's like, yeah, those were definitely the beginning stages when I was just starting to write music. But then you do develop that ear for what you personally enjoy, what your own personal sound is, and what is the message that you want to share to others.
And do you, when it comes to writing both the music and the lyrics, do you have a preference? Like, does one kind of you enjoy more, you enjoy equally as well?
I guess it depends. I do like several genres, so I do like being able to kind of fuse them together. But mostly I do stick in the electro pop genre, but I do like to put in different flavors of sounds from different genres. So with Starting Over, it kind of has that more ballad type feel to it that I wanted to explore, because my other songs are kind of a more upbeat, energetic mood to them. So I wanted to, show people a more vulnerable side with having this more sadder song.
You mentioned the whole process, the writing, the recording, and then also you mentioned the music video. I think that must be the funnest part of being a musical artist, Mauve. It's kind of coming up with that concept of a music video. I mean, do you just, when you're writing these songs and you're recording them, are you all of a sudden just picturing the visual aspect of it, what crazy stuff you might be able to get up to? And in this day and age with YouTube, you can drop these clips all the time. I mean, it must be a fun process to think of a music video.
Yes, it is, because I am a very arts-oriented person, so that's not just music. I like thinking about the visual arts as well, the graphics, even, dances or whatever. So I do like being a part of the design process with the cover art and thinking of the concepts for the music video that I want to show, and thinking, where is this music video going to be shot? What are we going to be wearing? So it is so much fun, because it's not just the song that you're releasing, it's kind of the whole package that you're working on.
Can you give us a bit of a teaser of what we can expect from the music video for Starting Over?
Yeah, so it does follow around the concept of having to light a candle at the beginning of the music video, and that flame represents the hope that you're having with a potential love interest. But then during the music video, you see that the candles blow out and that light is gone. So with that being gone at the end of the music video, I'm then having to light a candle again and kind of begin that process over.
It sounds very intriguing. And I have to ask the deep, meaningful question here then. How many candles did you actually use during the filming of the music video?
We had like this nice little stand of 5 candles.
Right.
And I was using a match just to light them, and I almost burnt my finger a few times having to light them all 5 in a row before the match burned out. So that was fun.
Always the fun aspect of doing these sort of things, right? Of making sure you don't burn yourself. It's probably one of the good things to not do with that one, I think.
Getting into the nitty-gritty.
Exactly. The song produced by Bogdan Bobrev and vocal producer Jovan Jovanov. Now, I'm intrigued about working with Jovan, because I'm a big Eurovision fan, Mauve, and this is a guy who's written a couple of songs for Macedonia, I believe, in Eurovision in 2004 and 2009. I mean, what's it like working with someone like that? And I don't know how much you're into Eurovision, but I mean, kind of having that experience from a guy like that who's written songs on a stage like that as well must be interesting.
I know. I'm so grateful that he is here in Toronto now, and I have the privilege of working with him. I've been working with him for about 3 years now, and he just brings so many creative ideas, such as like adding different harmonies to the vocals just to make the song sound so much fuller. And in terms of the Euro kind of sound that they bring, you can really hear it with the dance beats and the club beats that's kind of originating solely from Europe, and that's where it's born from. So it's nice that he's able to bring that into the grooves that I have for my song.
Have you managed to watch a lot of Eurovision since knowing Jovan, or even before you met him?
there was a few of his old music videos because he was in some bands, like really popular bands in Macedonia. So he was showing those to me, and I just thought they were so cool. Like, you can see how a lot of like music from North America kind of worked with those producers from there and kind of followed the same tone with them.
I think Canada needs... I mean, Australia weirdly got a place in Eurovision, so we, for whatever reason, have been competing in Eurovision now for about the last 5-6 years. But I think we are the biggest supporter of the competition outside of Europe. But if they're opening it up to us, open up to the world, get Canada out there, and who knows, you could be performing at Eurovision one day.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be something, I mean, I know Celine Dion, I think, won for Switzerland or something one year. So, I mean, you wouldn't be the first Canadian, but yeah. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he can recruit you to represent Macedonia at one point. Who knows?
Of course. I don't know do they take a lot of English, language? You don't have to follow the specific language of the country.
Depends on the country. Yeah, most artists like to do it in English, but every now and then they will sort of put it out there. I think Portugal a couple of years ago won it in Portuguese, but that was the first time in a long time that a non-english song had won. So
wow.
You never know. Maybe you can learn Macedonian. There's another option for you. So
I'm not the best with the languages.
You never know. You never know.
Good to dream.
Yeah, exactly. Put it on the bucket list, and then if you got something to strive towards, then hey, Eurovision 2028. Why not? That's
just
7
during
years.
the pandemic, learn a new language.
Exactly. Sounds very good to me. With the new song out, obviously a lot of questions come out about more music, everything along those lines. Is there plans for an album, an EP? Kind of what's the plan moving forward now that this song is out?
Yeah, I have been working other songs with other producers as well. So it's nice to have different collaborators going on at the same time. And I am hoping to release, either a second EP or an album in summer 2021. So it's just nice to have a new collection of music for people with what I've been creating over the past year.
And is that helped or hampered by the pandemic? Does it mean you're writing a lot more things, or you're kind of so sick of sitting around the house that you just don't want to write music? I mean, kind of how is that working right now?
Yeah, I think it definitely has helped me grow as a singer and songwriter. Because even though during the summer I would usually be performing at different festivals with a live band, I have been having more time to work on my songwriting and just being able to think outside of the box and think of, what other genres do I want to work with, and just being able to fine tune my music more and how I'm wanting the song to evolve. So yeah, just being able to adapt and learn and think if there is a different way I want to present music now that I have all of this time to kind of do some exploring.
Fantastic. We'll be keeping an eye out to see how that all plays out, of course. Now, before we get to our final 5 questions, Mauve, I am scrolling through the gram, looking at some of your posts through here, and I discovered post from last year wearing a Toronto Maple Leafs shirt, and obviously a proud Ontario native. Are you a Maple Leafs fan? Can I assume that is the case?
Yes, my family, big Maple Leaf supporters. But I do feel bad for my dad, though, because year after year, he just hopes for them to win. But it's just a long time. It's been a little bit dry, but they have been doing this well this season, from what I've heard. So that's good.
Yes. And I also have to ask then, too, then. I mean, obviously, do you get caught up in the hype during the Raptors a couple of seasons ago when they won, whether you were a Raptors fan before or not? I can imagine living in Toronto, you can't avoid that.
Yeah, of course. That was a huge celebration with people just so ecstatic over the Raptors win. So you just can't help but feel that sense of pride and that sense of community, knowing that your team is on that world stage, just representing the best of the best. So yeah, that was a great time.
I can then have to ask the difficult question then. What do you think your dad would be more proud of? The Leafs finally breaking through to win a cup, or maybe you winning a Grammy or Eurovision, one of those two?
Yeah. I know. I don't know. I hope he would be more supportive of me with winning a Grammy, but I do know he has been longing, he has all of his Maple Leaf merchandise. So he's just every single game he watches it. So, he'd be pretty happy about that too.
You might be excused for that one time. It's like, great, you won a Grammy, but the Leafs are about to win the Stanley Cup. So just,
exactly.
Not
He's been
today.
waiting his whole life.
Yes, exactly. We wrap up every single interview with a series of 5 questions. Now, as I explained to you a little bit off air, one of these I'll have to briefly explain as it comes from an Australian advertising campaign. But other than that, easiest questions you'll ever answer in your life, Mauve. You'll think, why on earth is he asking me these? These are ridiculous. But hey, if I inspire you to write a song off these, then I've done my job well. So
okay,
we'll see how we go.
Let's
Question
do it.
number 1. What is your favorite type of cheese?
Type of cheese? We're going to go with some classic sharp cheddar. Just having that with some Triscuits.
Nice.
Bold flavors.
That's good to hear. Yes, I think it's kind of... People often say cheddar, but when you got to describe, I feel, the level of cheddar you're willing to go with, because different layers of the cheddar, right? That bitey, sharp stuff definitely packs a different punch than just your regular Walmart cheddar, right? So
yeah, there's different kinds. You gotta state it.
Exactly. All right, question number 2. This is one I'm going to explain briefly. We had an advertising campaign for toilet paper, and before you hang up, there's more to it than that. It simply asks people when they go to the bathroom, are you a folder or a scruncher of your toilet paper? So I'm going to have to ask you right now, Mauve, are you a folder or a scruncher?
I would say I'm a very organized person, so I am a folder even when it comes to toilet paper.
Perfect. That's what I like to hear. As a fellow folder, that is the correct answer. That is
nice.
Bonus points for you today. Question number 3. Growing up, what was your dream job?
Probably doing singing. Like, I just loved watching musicals growing up, and wanted to be on stage as well, showing that same energy. So yeah, just being on stage performing was the dream job.
I have to ask then, what's your favorite musical growing up?
Favorite musical? There's so many, but my favorite one is The Lion King.
Nice.
Just with the set that they make, and the costumes are just spectacular.
Good answer. I like that one. Also growing up, who was your childhood celebrity crush?
That's a good question. I would say growing up in Toronto, when I was younger, I was a big fan of Mariana's Trench. So maybe like Josh Ramsey, like the lead singer of the group.
I like that.
Just seeing them at Much Music and all of that.
Yep,
I'll
that
say
works.
them.
Would you like to collaborate with Mariana's Trench if the opportunity came about?
Yes, that'd be so cool. They always kill it with like the choir, and the production they put into their songs is awesome.
We'll make it happen. People listening right now, come on, we can get it happening. We've got Eurovision, Grammys, Mariana's Trench. Don't know how influence we'll have on the Leafs winning the cup, but we'll do what we can. So
2022, let's go.
Exactly. There we go. Final question for you today, Mauve. What is your worst habit?
Worst habit, I guess I still bite my nails and pick my nails, which I keep trying to find ways to stop, but I don't know. I just, maybe I need to dip them in lemon or something just so I don't touch them, but yeah.
Well, that would be an interesting way to go about it. Yeah, I've not quite heard that method before, but hey, whatever works. You never know. You give it a try.
You never know.
As I mentioned before, Starting Over is available now, where all good songs are available to be streamed. Now, before I let you go, Mauve, give yourself a shout out on terms of social media. Where can people find you on Instagram, Twitter, the likes? Give a shout out, give a plug.
Yes, on Instagram, I am at mauve.music. I'm on Facebook as well. You can find all of my music videos on YouTube. And Twitter, I am at Music by Mauve. And Mauve is spelled Mauve.
Perfect. I hope I've actually done quite well, I think, in pronouncing it all this episode. So
yes, you're doing great.
Accent and all, I've practiced, ready to go for this episode. So
appreciate that.
You're welcome. This is the first time, I think, in my entire career I've ever pronounced somebody correctly the entire interview. So
oh my goodness,
it's been a few of these, so I've finally gotten it right. Mauve, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure chatting to you on the Brink, and I look forward to seeing all the other music coming through. And we'll have to do this again when that Grammy comes about.
Thank you so much. This was so much fun. Great to chat with you.
Okay, just a brief break in transmission between interviews. You are going to hear another chat in just a few moments, but I'm with Mallory again, and I did kind of tease at the end of last year in the best of, and then I did kind of tease last week of the slight little change in situation, particularly why Mallory has a different last name, and this is a bit of a first for the Brink in our 15-year history, that two co-hosts have gotten married together. And no, it wasn't Josh and Anthony finally declaring their love with each other. It was apparently some random person who decided that they wanted to marry me. Is that correct, Mallory?
Yes, I am some random person.
Yes, we've never heard of you before or anything along those lines. But we're married. Congratulations.
Woo!
And I'm congratulating you. I was involved in it as well. What was the decision to all of a sudden get married after a few attempts? Well, not a few attempts, but at least one attempt and then a later attempt. Tell our listener about the decision that led us to actually finally doing it.
COVID?
Is there more to it than that?
What do you mean?
Well, thank you. But like in terms of, COVID's been going for quite some time now. So why all of a sudden was it a case of, hey, let's do this eventually rather than just when we could have done it months ago because of COVID?
Because we love each other.
There's going to be more to it than that?
What do you want me to say?
Maybe I'll interview Stiggy. He seems to be a little bit more involved in this podcast. He's just jumping over the thing. I don't know. How about you discuss why we decided to get married, in like 3 weeks' notice?
Because we love each other? Because...
Okay, let me rephrase the question. We initially organised to get married in November, then we wanted to get married in April, but then we had a decision. We thought, okay, well, how about we just go ahead and do this now? There was more to it than simply because we love each other. Or do I have to do the explaining here?
Because COVID, and we decided your family wasn't going to come over, and yeah.
Okay. Well, sure. You sound very interested into it. How was the whole experience in putting together a wedding in like 3 weeks for the type of wedding it was?
It was real good.
Okay. Do you care to elaborate more?
We were stressed out, but it was fun, and it was fairly easy.
Can you describe the wedding for us? How did it all go about?
We got married in this little gazebo by the beach, and that made me happy, and that made you happy, and it was really pretty.
I swear we haven't turned Mallory down to about a 3 since the last time she was on this show. I kind of feel this excitement level from Mallory's even waned even more when she used to be on the phone all the time. Obviously very excited to be married to me, I can tell.
I sure am.
You sure are.
That's what I just said.
Yes, okay. And went on Zoom, was excitable, all that kind of fun stuff. Tell everyone about your dress or what you wore. Come on, this is what everybody wants to know about a wedding.
I wore a dress. It was white and pretty, and I think you liked it.
I did. Is there more to explain about what the dress looked like?
There was some lace on top, and...
What accessories did you have? How did you accessorize with the dress?
I wore some blue boots, and...
Wow, people have really missed you on this podcast.
Did I wear a necklace? I don't even remember.
You had a maroon shawl thing on you?
Yeah.
And a white... Didn't you have a white thing as well? The blanket?
Oh, that was just a blanket.
That was just a blanket, yep. And tell everyone about your vows. How were they to write?
Yeah, good. They were like, what, less than half the length of yours?
How were mine?
Good. Much better than mine.
Did you expect me to write ridiculous things like I did?
Yes.
Can you explain the ridiculous things that I did write?
You had... How many references did you have in your vows?
There was at least 3 franchises. About 4 or 5 or 6. I can't remember. There were a few.
There was a Star Wars one. Shit.
And that's how she feels about Star Wars. Shit.
There was a Star Wars one. There was a Ferris Bueller one. Mm-hmm. There was a James Bond. Yep. No. Yeah. There were 2
couple of James Bond ones, and there's also a Jurassic Park reference.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, tick them all off the boxes and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly what you would expect from me.
Yeah, exactly. It was also mainly to please Colin, mainly more so than my now wife. Honeymoon, tell our, well, not all the details about the honeymoon. We don't want to go that detail, but the adult friendly, the children friendly version of the honey. I know what I'm trying to say. The honey version of the honeymoon that your mother could listen to.
We went up to Parksville, which is like this little. What the heck? Why does this keep getting stokey?
She's still playing a game, by the way, people. If you're wondering why she's randomly commenting on things.
We went up to Parksville, which is like a little town north of Victoria, where we live, and we stayed at a really fancy resort and spa, and we went to the spa, which was nice.
We did. And would you recommend Parksville to our listener?
Sure.
Sure.
I like
And
Parksville.
we like Parksville. Obviously not quite where we wanted to go, but we'll be going to, when we eventually can do all that. How is married life different? I can tell that podcast enthusiasm wanes with a different last name. Is that, did you expect that to happen?
No.
No, just gradually goes down with time and realizing that you're stuck with me for life with this sort of stuff. Is married life actually any different?
I don't think so.
How is it getting used to having a different last name?
It's not been bad.
Is it difficult when it comes to, your signature? You had to change your signature, a slight little thing that you've got to realize you've got to do?
Yeah, my signature has changed so much since I changed it as well. But I don't know. I don't mind.
And in terms of right now, sitting here on a couch, playing a PlayStation 5 game, falling off a cliff, going in a purple circle and having this in your face, is this how you always imagined married life to be?
Yes.
That was actually, that yes was preceded by a very, almost like a death stare towards me. I don't actually know, what would you call that look?
A loving look.
I definitely wouldn't call it that. Well, it's insightful. It's always insightful to find it. This is actually, I think, if anybody's listened to this show for a long time, probably what they would expect someone who married me to feel like. It's not like a joyous occasion. It's just kind of like I did it. I did it for these reasons, and finally it happened. Would that be a fair assessment?
Yeah.
Great. We'll come back very shortly, and you'll hear from Mallory at the end of this episode.
I did it.
She did it. That's her realizing she got married to me. Is that right?
Yep.
Sweet. Continuing on, some great interviews here on The Brink, and I'm super excited to chat to our next guest, another singer-songwriter, this time from close to my neck of the woods here in Canada, in BC at least, in Vancouver. Her songs have achieved more than 1 million career streams across multiple platforms, and she recently released her brand new single, Envious, which I have to say I'm envious of how good it is and how many times I've been listening to it recently. It's a pleasure to welcome to the Brink. Rayne, first of all, welcome to the show. It's great to chat with you today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
I'm really glad that I'm actually chatting to you about your song Envious to start with, because if I started off by chatting about your song Bored, I'd be a bit worried by going, our next guest is bored to be here today. It's Rayne, which I don't know how that would start off an interview.
Probably not great.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Rayne. I don't want to be here now.
Yeah, exactly. That was the mood at the time with that song. You're just like,
Totally. Yeah.
bored, can't be bothered doing this. No, what
I
am
try not to
doing?
bring that with me, that mentality.
Yes, exactly.
Get
Don't
it
let
out
that
in a
stay
song,
with you.
and don't think about it again.
Never again. But Envious, as I said, I've been listening to this song. It's been stuck in my head since I first heard it. It's a great track. It's been out for a month or so now. How have you found it being out there and people listening to it, giving their feedback and everything since it has been released?
Oh, it's great. I'm just I'm always so happy when I release new music. Because everything in the music industry takes forever. It's horrible, and I'm so impatient. And so when I finally get to release a song and share it with people, I'm just so excited. And I don't know, I've had really great response with it, and it's getting some radio play, which is really exciting. And so I'm just all around stoked.
Is it something that, knowing it's on the radio, that when you're driving out there, that you actually turn it on in the hope that maybe it will be on one time when you're listening to the radio?
Yes, I normally listen to podcasts when I drive. I try not to drive because I hate it. I'm such an anxious driver. So normally I'm listening to a chill podcast or whatever. But recently I've just been I've had the stations on that I know have played it a couple times, and I'm it's going to happen. One day it's going to happen.
So it hasn't happened yet? You haven't happened to come across it?
No, it's
Jeez.
mostly being played in Toronto, and like the Ontario area.
Right.
So I haven't actually heard it in my car yet, but one day
Okay.
I'm holding out hope.
Yeah, and is it one of those moments that you think when you actually hear it that you're just going to crank it up so loud, you might be at a red light and awkwardly look over at somebody who you hope are enjoying at the same time and go, hey, it's me. Look, right here. I can see you
That's
live.
me. This is my song. Oh my God. What do you think? Probably. Yeah. Have a bit of a breakdown, maybe pull over.
Yep. Just have that moment. And hopefully that they're liking it though, because that would be a bit awkward if they look over and you see them listening to it, oh, this is shit, and they turn the channel. Then that's awkward.
They're like, oh, yeah, this
Yeah.
sucks, actually.
Oh, well,
Never listening to the song again.
yeah, just, screw you and just drive off and flip them the bird or something like that as you
Flip
go
the
off
bird
there.
as I'm going by.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how long was the process with Envious? Sort of, you mentioned sort of the impatient level there of kind of when you got a new song coming out that way. But I mean, sort of, was this an extended process? Was it a shorter process compared to some of the other songs you put out?
It was so long. I wrote the song in 2018 in December.
Wow.
So I was 16 at the time. And it was like one of the first songs I'd ever co-written. And I was just so excited about it. And I was like, wow, this is great. I love it. And then we just had it for like 2 years. And then we decided to release it in December of 2020, which is exciting. We got it remixed because after 2 years, I was like, I'm kind of tired of it. I've heard it so many times, like playing it for friends, playing it for family. I want it to be like spruced up a little bit. And so we did that. And then I was like, yes, okay, this is perfect. We're ready to go. And then we released it.
Then it's out. Boom. And people enjoying it. You're speaking to random Australian podcast host based in Victoria now about it. So that's kind of how everybody hopes when they release a song like that. But you co-wrote this with Tavish Crowe and Ryan Stewart and had it produced by Nicholas Enriques. I mean, what was it like working with those guys? They've worked with some pretty prominent artists over their time as well. So to work with some of those guys, does it help you sort of fine-tune what you've already got in your head when it comes to writing a track like this?
Yeah, I find like all co-writing is like a great learning experience, but that was my first time ever writing with Tavish, and like my third time working with Ryan. And so I was quite nervous going into the session because I was like, these are new people. Like I want my song to be like received well or whatever. Like I'm a lot more secure in myself as a writer now than I was then because I was just so new at it. But it's so incredible working with those guys. I write with Tavish like every week now, just like doing demos and creating new songs and just working and making new things. And yeah, like I love them and they're super good at what they do.
Fantastic. Well, that's good. That's always a good thing to learn. And is it something that I read in a past interview of yours that you have about 20 odd notebooks just sitting around, and you also do a lot of notes and everything in your phone. So when you're writing with Tavish, is this a constant idea of, look what I've written down in a notebook, what do you think of this for an idea, and kind of just gelling together some ideas for a track?
It depends really. Like sometimes he'll bring in a track and be like, when I was like creating this, I was really visualizing like this word in my head. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's really cool. Let's go with that. And then we like create a story around that word or that concept. And other times, like with what happened with Envious, I'll come in with a partially written song and be like, hi guys, this is what I've been working on. What do you think? And maybe we can change it a little bit. The other day I had a writing session with Tavish. I was like, wait, I had like this really good idea. Let me find it. And I have like 4 Gmail accounts. So I'm going through all my Google Docs on each account, trying to find it. And I'm like rifling through notebooks. I'm like, I promise I have this somewhere. So it's a little bit chaotic at times if I'm not super prepared, but I don't know. It's fun. It's fun being a little bit chaotic with creativity, I think.
Well, I can imagine that's when all of a sudden you come up with the idea, hey, my next song's called Chaotic. There it is. Simple.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's the whole plan, right? You come in there unorganized and chaotic to then say, hey, what about this for an idea? If I can't find a song, well, let's write a song about not finding a song.
I'm like, wait, I don't have any ideas. Let me look around the room.
Exactly.
No, that doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm like, I make it sound like I'm never prepared for writing sessions. I'm usually prepared for writing sessions. Just every once in a while, I won't know until like the night before, and then I'll be like, oh no. But yeah, for the most part, I'm prepared.
I do like how your music has been described. Music you can sing and dance along to while out with your friends and then cry to in the cab home. I mean, that in itself, you're talking about being unorganized and chaotic sometimes, not all the time, but that in itself must take some skill, like going out dancing and then you're just going to cry your eyes out on the way home. I mean, that's some interesting music right there.
I like to think so. I call it like sad dancey pop music because like you said, it's something you can kind of move to it, right? But you can also like get in your feels and be like, oh, I'm really sad right now. And I think that's kind of the music that I personally enjoy, that duality of emotion versus like what you're feeling with the song. And yeah, that's the kind of music that I like to make, something that's almost like a juxtaposition of itself.
And is that something that comes from experiences? Do you use a lot of life experiences at that point? Friends' life experiences? Is it stuff that kind of just comes together in a song, or is it sort of a mixture of everything?
It's kind of a mixture of everything. I'm often like inspired by like the most random things to write songs. Like most of the time when I write a song, I start with a story that I've come up with that might be inspired by a book I read or something I saw on a TV show, or like one of those, like a commercial for like one of those like housewives shows with all the drama. They'll be like saying something and I'm like, this drama is kind of interesting. You know, like I try to pull from like as many different outlets as possible, just so I don't know, like pigeonhole myself into only writing like one thing. So, yeah.
I can imagine that's the first time someone's ever used one of those housewife shows as inspiration rather than being bored.
Of anything positive.
Yeah. You know, like actually watching it for some value rather than
I don't watch it. It's just playing. You know, you get those ads and there's like, it's like 30 seconds of people just screaming at each other and like throwing wine. And you're like, yeah, this is a little bit much, but I think I can maybe take some inspiration from it.
So we can expect a new song coming out called Crap TV, potentially,
Totally.
on the next release on that side of things. What drew you into getting into music, Rayne? At what point in your life did you sort of wake up and go, this is something I want to pursue?
Oh, I don't know. For as long as I can remember, I've loved music. Growing up, I listened to like so much, like different types of music, anything from like Billy Talent, rock metal music to Harry Connick Jr. and like kind of just a little bit of everything. Because my dad really likes music. And I sang a lot of opera when I was like 5, which was so annoying and kind of just all over the place. I like to say that a time when I realized that I really wanted to like become a performer was when I was 9 and I was singing karaoke with a live band on a cruise ship. And I was like, this is sick. I want to do this for the rest of my life. I'm having such a good time singing like Rolling in the Deep by Adele.
Tell me there's a video of this, Rayne. Tell me there's something that exists.
There is. I think I took it down from my YouTube channel and just privated it because it's so old and I'm like tiny.
You know that's coming out when you win a Grammy. That's going to be like all over CBC and stuff. Like she was 9 years old on a cruise ship.
Here's 9-year-old Rayne. Or like when they do one of those documentaries where they play like videos of you as a kid and it's just me like, absolutely killing it to Adele.
Wow. Jeez, that's got to be seen. I feel opera as well. Like, you know, I want to add this along to the lines of going out dancing with your friends, crying in the cab home, and then going home and just singing opera to get over the night out.
Oh,
that's
God,
kind of a combination.
I was like, I like hyper fixated on the song Ave Maria, and it was all I could listen to. My mom had like a BlackBerry flip phone, and we would go to the mall, and I'd be like, "Can I listen to the song?" And she would just like play it on her phone, and I'd just like walk around with it playing against my ear, like so weird. I was such a weird kid, but yeah, always loved music.
I like that though. Like, I don't know how familiar you are with Charlotte Church. She went from opera to pop, so you never know. Like, there's layers to it. Or you can just do the opposite, you know,
get
pop
into
to
that.
Opera. Yeah, go for it.
Totally.
Duet with Josh Groban, someone like that. Just kind of keep going out there. Why not? I have to say though, with the name Rayne, is that simply just come from Vancouver? The fact that it just rains all the time? It's like, hey, what's my name? Okay, Rayne. I'll go with that.
That's probably a better reasoning than the one that I have, which is there isn't any. Like, I wanted a stage name because I just wanted one. Like, I like having separation between like myself and like when I'm with my family, with my friends, and like me when I'm performing, you know. I thought that'd be kind of cool. And so I just was like, sent out a mass text to like all my family, like song, like name suggestions for me, please. Anything will do. Like, I just want something kind of cool. Like, I want one name, I think. And I think it was my grandpa who suggested it. It was, I think it means like lyric or like song or something in a Scandinavian language. And I was like, this is cool. I'm Scandinavian. Let's do it. And that was literally like my meaning.
Wow.
There isn't really much.
Were there any other options? Any other finalists that got close?
I don't know. There was like Soren for a while. Okay. I don't know why. Like, I can't really think of any. Yeah, Kenzie at one point, because that's my middle name is Mackenzie, but we stuck with Rayne, and I like it. It's kind of fun. It's
works.
annoying because there's a lot of other artists named Rayne. I found out after, and their songs will constantly get linked to my Spotify account. It'll be like, your new song, blah blah blah, is releasing tomorrow. I'm like, no, it's not.
Not me.
That's not me. But it's worth it.
I know there's an Australian artist called James Rayne. So he's been around for quite some time. But does you say you talk about separating it kind of from your performing in your family, but then does it get to a point where you get so used to be called Rayne in your professional life that when you come home and your mum doesn't call you by that and you're not answering or something like that, or you're going out with friends, they're calling you by, and like, no, it's Rayne now. It's just going to take over eventually into everyday life.
No, I don't think so. One time I was on radio tour and I was like still quite new with being called Rayne. My mom was there because I was like 17 at the time. And so she was like, Rayne, Rayne, Rayne. And I did not turn around. I'm definitely getting better at it though. But like, I never know whether to like introduce myself as Rayne or like with my actual name.
Okay.
But I'm trying to like feel it out, you know. It's just so it feels awkward sometimes being like, hi, this is my stage name, you can't call me anything else.
But you can have like two lives though. That's kind of cool though, because I guess like in your personal life you just want to chill, you don't actually want to think about your day job and everything along those lines, so you're back to normal life, and then all of a sudden you're watching TV and they're talking about 30 degrees and a chance of rain. You're like, shit, I'm trying to get away from that today, but there it is. Oh, well.
that has happened before. I was watching like a YouTube video and they said something like, I love Rayne, and I was like, that's me. So what? I think it'll start happening more.
Yeah, absolutely. You can make some fun with that one, I could see. With obviously Envious doing quite well, I mean, plans now for more music, albums, EPs, kind of what sort of 2021 looking like for yourself this year?
I plan to release my EP mid 2021, probably May or later-ish. We haven't really like picked a specific date, but we're working towards it.
Right.
And I hope to release 1 or 2 singles before then. We'll have to see with time and everything, because everything takes forever in the music industry.
Bit of extra time though, I can imagine right now with the pandemic. Does it give you extra time, or is it just you get bored? Can I just bring that up again? It's just don't want to write music right now.
I don't know, really. Like writing and everything is different, and like going into the studio and that kind of thing is so different from before. I don't know if it really gives me more time or less time. Definitely less like commuting time, because I can just stay at home, go from my bedroom to my studio, have a songwriting session, record the vocals and send them off, and not have to like drive an hour each way.
Yep.
So in that sense, I save time, but I don't know about everything else.
Yeah. There's just something though about like working from home's great on paper, but there are just days when you just can't separate it, right? Like you can't separate yourself from Rayne. Like I'm in the bedroom, I'm going to sleep, I just want to read a book, watch some TV. I've got to go to work. I guess I'm Rayne today in the next room in the studio. But sometimes it's Monday, it's Tuesday, you just, whatever.
Yeah, it gets like a little mixy sometimes when I'm like working in the kitchen and like doing stuff, but I'm like, oh, where is work and where is not work? And I'm just like in this limbo of leisure and working, because like a lot of my like hobbies are like related to my work in like creating videos and editing pictures and all this stuff. And so I'm kind of constantly like, am I working or am I not working? Which I think is kind of a good way to be.
Yeah.
In some senses. So yeah, I'm not complaining.
What do they say when you're working in it and you love it? It's not work, right? So that's kind of find a job like that. You mentioned the editing and doing your videos. I got actually really excited on one of your Instagram posts. You a picture there of you editing a video with all the many layers and tracks and everything, and you sort of mentioned about how editing's fun, particularly at the end product or everything. I'm weird like that too. I love editing to a point where you're sometimes there for about 6 or 7 hours and like, shit, I've been here for way too long. So it's a weird torture, isn't it, editing things?
It is, because you hate it, but you love it.
Yeah.
You love it at the end, but when you're doing it, you're like, God, I want this to be over.
And how tedious are you? Like, how meticulous are you with everything just fitting together? Because I feel that in itself is a weird, ACD quirk sort of thing, OCD quirk.
It depends on what you're doing, really. Like, I did one video for a Selena Gomez song called Boyfriend, and I spent like a month doing that video.
Wow.
Of like filming. Like I normally when I do a video, I'll just kind of like shoot stuff and then put it together and be like, oh, this is really cool. I like it. Or I want this to happen here or whatever. And just kind of have like a vague idea. But for that one, I like had all the lyrics set on my iPad and I was like highlighting what's going to be happening in each section of the song and what I'm going to be saying when and where I'm going to be and what I'm going to be wearing. And like that took so long. I really like the video though, and like I'm doing like an infomercial in it, and I like made things for the infomercial, and I'm like bearing a Barbie at one point, and then it was during COVID, so I like filmed my brother as like the build a boyfriend, which is kind of weird and vaguely incestuous, but not attracted to my brother. Don't worry about it.
Just clarify that on air. Good to know. All right. Yep.
Good to know. We have that down.
Yep.
It's just making do with what you have.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, until now, no one knew that. So you got away with it, I think, until this interview, I think. But actually, it's funny. I enjoy the lyric video for Bored, where you've got this guy who's just on his phone eating chicken, doing whatever it is. I mean, I don't know if that's your brother or not, but like, I mean, he's good. He's good at being bored in that film clip. So props to him.
That's my friend Richard. We've done music to get like kind of together for a really long time. Like we competed in a singing contest when I was like 9 and I think he was 13 or 12. And like since then we've like kind of known each other through like the local music scene, and then we became friends like 5 years ago or something, and we've just kind of been like doing music together, and he helped me out with that, which I really appreciated. And it was super last minute. I was like, Richard, please, I need someone to be in my music video.
I can't use my brother again.
The guy I know.
Fantastic. How many outtakes? Sure. I swear there would be an outtakes clip of him just constantly cracking up laughing in some of those clips. Oh God, surely.
Yeah. Yes, because when we like chat, we get super funny because we've known each other for so long, and we just like make the stupidest jokes, and so there's definitely a lot of footage of me just like laughing my ass off and him doing the same and just stupid stuff.
Release it with the cruise ship video. We all want to see it.
No, I think it's gone. I think I deleted it. I have like a very finite amount of space on my hard drive.
I'm sure we can get some crack hacks on there to find it in the depths of the recycle bins or things like that. Rayne, before I get to our 5 questions, one thing I read in another interview too is that you have a black belt in Taekwondo. So I'm imagining if this music career doesn't work out, are the Olympics potentially something we could see you going towards? Maybe 2028 LA?
I had to stop Taekwondo because I have like a chronic hip condition.
Right.
Which hurts a lot when you do like high kicks and stuff, obviously. And so I worked through the pain until I got my black belt. And then I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm causing myself too much bodily harm. I love it. And I miss Taekwondo so much, but no Olympics for me, unfortunately.
Damn, there you go. You just have to stick with like maybe, I don't know, like a Grammy or I don't know, performing at the Super Bowl or something. Just one of those.
Something like that. Things. Yeah, totally. I mean, that would be nice, but whatever. Yeah. If it happens, it happens.
Canada's a flavor of the week at the moment with the Super Bowl. So,
yes,
you could be walking around a room looking for things, becoming a meme within 24 hours. I mean, that worked for the weekend. True. So why not Rayne?
Why not Rayne?
Yeah. I think that's a good collaboration, like Weekend Rain. That would be a good album. It kind of sounds like
that could be a song title too.
Yeah, well, that too. Exactly.
It's like put our names together. Yeah. Perfect. That would be, honestly, I'm obsessed with The Weeknd. His music is incredible. Like everything he does, I'm like, wow, this is so cool. So like, if he ever wants to collab, I am so unbelievably down.
Big listener to this show, I can tell you that. He just messaging me right now saying, "Hey, I've heard you got Rayne on. Hook us up. We can collaborate together." So there you go.
His number.
Yeah, exactly. I'll share it with that. 5 questions now for you, Rayne. Now I teased these a little bit off air and got you very excited with the prospect of at least one of these because.
By excited, you mean nervous, right?
Well. Literally, as soon as you hear the first one, you're going to laugh and go, what is this guy thinking? I've been asking these questions now for about 15 years, and I don't think I've ever gotten a, wow, they're amazing question. So you can be the first today. Just no pressure for you. No pressure at all with this one. First question then, started off with, what is your favorite type of cheese?
Cheddar. I'm boring, basic.
Cheddar's fine.
Like a sharp cheddar.
Sharp cheddar.
Yeah.
You are the second consecutive person to answer sharp cheddar. I can't even say it properly, but that's, as I said before, it's good.
Ooh. Trader Joe's had a really good, it was like cheddar with bacon in it. It was very good. I don't know if they have it anymore and we can't go to the States, but that's definitely probably my favorite cheese.
The first thing you're going to do when the border reopens is Trader Joe's.
Straight to Trader Joe's, straight to
Boom.
buy like a wheel of it.
Exactly. Everyone else is there to see family and sort of catch up with loved ones. Boom, Trader Joe's. Get out of my way. I want some cheese. That's what
Yes.
I want. Question number 2. Here's a question for you, Rayne. All right. Now we had an advertising campaign in Australia for toilet paper. You know, it's going well here. And basically it asked people when they went to the bathroom, did they fold or scrunch their toilet paper? So, are you a folder or a scruncher?
Folder. I used to scrunch, now I fold.
What made you change?
Like
There's a change
I
at
feel
some
like
point.
it's more agronomic. Is that the word? Like, I feel like it environmentally, like I'm
Yep.
making an impact.
No, that works. I always like to bring the quote up. The best quote we ever got for an answer on this one was whatever keeps the Vegemite on the toast. So
Oh my
that
God.
kind of works in the folding. So
Very Australian answer.
very Australian answer. And you hear that answer and you don't even second guess it. You're like, yeah, right, that's very true. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Keeps
all
it on
right
the
then.
toast.
You do
Yep.
you.
Go for it. There you go. Question number 3. Growing up, what was your dream job?
Musician.
Musician.
Yeah.
Perfect. Living the dream. That's what we like.
Living the dream.
Living the
I wanted to be
dream.
Hannah Montana, so.
Oh, well, who didn't? We all wanted to be
Wig
Hannah
and
Montana.
all.
Even I. Actually, I think I'm probably a bit old. I wanted to be Lizzie McGuire. How's that? Yeah.
Yeah, I never really, I was like just a little bit after the Lizzie McGuire thing, unfortunately.
Have to
Age-wise.
say, Hilary Duff would be in my few as a childhood celebrity crush, which leads me actually into the next question. Funnily enough, that's a segue, Rayne. You can use that. Growing up, who was your childhood celebrity crush?
Oh God, I don't really know. I never really had one, I don't think.
Do you have one
I was
now?
just like, no, I don't. Honestly, like I don't really, I'm not a huge fan of celebrity culture.
Okay. All right.
I don't
Go with
know.
that.
I've never really had one. And
Wow.
that's so lame of me, but I just haven't.
It'll happen one day. You can send us a message and be like, boom,
one day.
this is how it works. Go
I'll
with
let
that
you know
answer.
the moment it happens.
Yeah, I want the exact moment. Whether it's 3 a.m., I want you to wake up and have like a dream. Oh, fuck, that was a great texting. Right, okay, this is who my celebrity crush is. Boom, go to sleep. Done.
Totally, yeah.
That works. The Brink is a 24-hour show. We're always ready to hear people's answers. We're still
You'll be
waiting for
like,
them answers 10 years
live
ago.
on the air. We
Yep.
have a new
Breaking
update from
news.
Ray.
Rayne has
news.
finally got no answer. I like it. Final question for you today. What is your worst habit?
Ooh, I can be a perfectionist to the point of driving myself a little bit insane. And I'm also very messy and disorganized. So it's like, they sound like they shouldn't happen at the same time.
Right.
But they
I was about to
do.
say that.
Yeah, no, my life is in shambles.
Okay. Well, I have to ask then, what are you a perfectionist at and what's the messy part? Like where does the line blur eventually?
I'm like a perfectionist with my expectations of myself. Like I always have been. Like even as a kid, I was like, I need to be the best at everything, which isn't realistic. Like I can recognize that isn't realistic, but at the same time, it's like, no, I do need to be the best at everything possible.
It's messy in itself in that way, isn't it?
Yeah, in that sense of like a need of control, perhaps.
Yeah.
So let's really therapize. Is that the word? Is that a word?
It can be
Therapize?
now. See,
Ther-
sure. Why not?
At least I'm aware of it.
Yeah, well, that works. Sorry that in your life of being a perfectionist, you ended up on my show. But, you can't, sometimes you make mistakes. So it's...
No, I'm so happy to be here. You're great. I'm loving this. I love the vibe and your sense of humor. So
It's taken a while, but I'm finally glad we've got a glowing review out of it. Rayne, before I let you go, if people listening to this want to check out your music, follow you on social media, give yourself a plug, where can they follow you out there?
you can find my website. I think it's Official Rayne Music. I'm not entirely sure. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter at Rayne Music _. It's RAYNE, not the weather. And Facebook is Rayne Music, and TikTok is official.rayne.music. And I think my YouTube, you just search Rayne Music and I'll eventually pop up. And you can find all my music, including my new song Envious, on like every streaming platform, I think.
Boom. We'll find it.
I haven't seen one yet, but it's not on.
Okay.
So,
Like
Spotify.
Lithuanian Spotify, it's on there or something like that? Or
Oh yeah, totally.
you're big in Lithuania.
Got it
I'd love you.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Even your most obscure homemade DIY like streaming platforms. We
It's
got
there.
cassette. No, we don't.
Whatever gets it out there. Rayne, it's
Exactly.
been a lot of fun chatting with you today here on the Brink, and I have to say that I, for one, wasn't bored in chatting to you. I've worked on that all day,
There
so
was
please don't
I.
judge
Thank
me.
you so much for having me.
Back-to-back weeks of the Brink, which means back-to-back weeks of this. Canada! That's all we're talking about. We're talking to Canada, no one else. Oh, I guess we need to speak to one of its citizens. It's not Mallory. Maybe a Canadian who actually wants to be here this week. I actually don't know. I didn't ask him. It's Colin Hilding. Colin, welcome back.
Wait, where am I?
I have no idea. Who are you? What is this? What's going on?
Did I give consent for this? I don't think I gave consent.
You never gave consent. And also, not joining us is your nephew, because that lasted a week. Where is
Never again.
Where is Patrick? What happened there? Who is he?
You know, I actually, funny enough, I had him working with me yesterday, so we could honestly say that I paid him to not be here.
Right, working with you. What does that specifically entail?
Child labor. Basically, I paid him to carry very heavy equipment for me. And then every time he picked up his cell phone to text, I said, hey, is that person paying you? Because I am.
Isn't he like 17? Shouldn't he
He
get a real
is.
job? Wow, labour laws are different in Winnipeg. Speaking of which, how's the winter going for you, Colin Hilding? Because as I've discovered in the last few days, winter that happens here for like a day and you get like 30 centimetres worth of snow, it basically is like the end of the world here. For you, that's probably just 1 a.m. to 10 past 1 a.m. on a Tuesday morning.
I mean, that could be 1 a.m. to 1 p.m. on a Tuesday morning in May every couple of years, occasionally September. I'm sure it's even happened as far late in the year as June. But, I mean, snow is nothing out of the ordinary for us. I think this winter, believe it or not, has been out of the ordinary for us because it's been unseasonably warm. We had the summer, which was disgustingly hot, and then the winter came, and we got some snow pretty quickly. It all melted, and then we got nothing until I think mid-December. And then some snow fell, and we got nothing. And then I think for 1 week in January, we got to what's considered seasonable Winnipeg temperatures, which is around -20, -30. And then it got above zero for a couple weeks.
Wow.
And the last week, though, I'd say that it's steadily cooled off for the last 2 weeks. But the last week, we've been in extreme wind or extreme weather warnings, extreme cold warnings, which is you wake up in the morning and it's -30 something without the wind chill and -40 to -50 with the wind chill. I mean, do you even bother to calculate wind chill in Victoria?
They do, but I don't get wind chill. I mean, if they're telling you it feels a certain temperature, then is it not a certain temperature? Oh, it feels -40. Well, then it's clearly -40 if it feels that way, right?
Yeah, that's the way Winnipeggers, they won't say it's -37. They'll say, oh, it was -50 this morning.
Yeah. Well, they had, so during this week, it was, before even the snow warnings came, it was, every day it was meant to be like -1 was the top. And for Victoria, that's cold. And then I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday night, it was meant to drop to like -4 with a wind chill of -25. And I never experienced it. I still have not experienced like anything lower than I think like a -3 or a -4. So I can't comment. But, yeah, it's been chilly this week. I can tell you that.
Chilly. See, this reminds me of a couple weeks ago when we were, I think, getting ready to record something else. Have you ever had Anthony on this show? This version?
Not the. Oh, this version, maybe. I mean, he was a co-host back in he was the founding co-host of this show 15 years ago. But this version, maybe. I can't remember. I do a lot of shit on this version. I don't remember.
But yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I think we were getting ready to record something, and he had texted you that it was like -23 in Minnesota. And I sort of laughed, and I'm like, it's minus like 30 here right now. And I think his response was something like, well, there's not really much of a difference between -23 and -30. Try -50, Anthony.
I messaged
Tell me if
him
there's a difference.
when we woke up to snow yesterday. I've like messaged him pictures, and he's like, "Lol," and then just like sends me screenshots of like -23, -25, all that kind of stuff. I moved here, and you know, Australian coming to Canada, snow, yay, and then everyone shuts me down. It's like, oh no, Ben, it doesn't snow in Victoria. Like maybe like an inch every winter, but like no, every couple of years maybe, but no. This is now the second time it snowed here. Like it snowed a couple of days before Christmas, got a nice dumping over one day, then it just kind of stuck around. Here it was all like basically, oh, there might be it snowed last week, but it just didn't settle. But then sort of as the middle of the week came, they were like, oh, there might be some snow this weekend. Then all of a sudden it was like, death to Victoria, winter storm, prepare, lock up your children. This is going to be the worst thing ever. And I mean, we watched it on Friday night. What are you doing, Victoria? Sit down and watch the window. Oh, there's snow. And, you know, woke up, fair dusting, and then it sort of went away. And now it's just gently falling, and it's weird. Like, I mean, talking to you about snow is like talking to me about getting arrested for wrong things, right? Like, it's, you know, we both know what we know. But, like, obviously there's different types of snow, isn't there? Because I remember that one just before Christmas, it was kind of, it was almost like a dirty, thick snow. Like, it was there and then it was gone. This one yesterday was so, like, powdery and nice. And, like, Mallory and I went and built a snowman, but it was all powdery and flaky. Couldn't really get much together. And now this morning I've woken up and it's just, I'm looking at it right now. It's very powdery and flaky, and the trees are now coated in it, where yesterday they weren't coated in it. So, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I love snow. I just want to say I love snow.
Yeah, there's different, I mean, Winnipeg looks at that simply as what snow clearing technique are you going to use for the different type of snow? I mean, the one you're talking about is my favorite. Like the snowflakes look huge, but then everything falls and it's so light and, like you said, powdery. That's basically like you can have 3 or 4 inches of snow and you just sort of blow on it like it's a birthday candle, and it's all gone, you know? Yep. Yeah, that's like, you know, okay, you could take a broom outside when the snow is knee deep and clear it. And then there's the really, really thick stuff, which, you know, you've got to have the ergonomic shovels, the one that have like the curve on it and the handle, and they got the metal blade on the bottom. And then you've got the ones where there's just so much snow, you have to pay somebody with a snowblower to clear it for you. We actually have somebody a couple doors down that had a snowblower, and on one of those days it snowed, like, we're talking heavy snow for probably 2 days straight. And I was going outside, you know, because Jamie's got to use the car a couple times a day. So I was like shoveling our sidewalk every hour and a half. And it's like, it just keeps coming. And at one point I just looked outside and I saw one of our neighbor's neighbor had his snowblower in our driveway doing the whole thing for us. Took him like 15 minutes. I mean, once you've got a snowblower and you're used to it, you know, you've probably cleared so many people's driveways that you could be in and out in 5 minutes. You don't even have to ask for money.
Well, Mallory had to go to work this morning at like 2:30, and I was like, okay, I'll stay up. I'll you know, I'll help you probably, because she didn't drive our car yesterday. Anyway.
You're gonna help her?
Well, it was a case of like, oh, there's probably going to be snow all in the car. Like, I'll help you. So we went outside this morning and we couldn't find the snow shovel. Generally in our apartment complex, they leave like the shovel like at the door for people. It was nowhere to be found. I was like, fuck, okay, what are we going to do? And like the car's pretty well buried in. I guess by Victoria standards, you look at it and go, oh, fuck, come on, drive out of that. You can drive out of that. But I spent a good 20 minutes just kicking snow. Like, you know, like, but again, It was a nice powdery stuff that it was actually quite simple. But it's funny because, like, it's also a driving thing here. Like, I mean, I've never driven in snow. So to me, I look at this going, I'm not driving in that. Like, and for you, you'd probably, like, ride a bike in this weather. But
I spent a whole winter riding a bike in Winnipeg.
Apparently yesterday, Mallory saw somebody riding a bike in this, and they're like, what the hell's going on? But so Mallory went to work yesterday, and within 5 minutes, she was like, no, we're not doing this. And they all got sent home. And basically it was like, no bread deliveries in Victoria. And again, like, I mean, for Victoria, this is a pretty significant snowfall. But like, again, there was 2 of their drivers. One had grown up in, I think, Nova Scotia, maybe, and another had grown up somewhere where they're like they're used to it, and they literally drove. They were like, I can drive in this. Like, don't tell me what I can't do. And they were like driving up the Malahat and the freaking where it was thicker and everything, and they were ringing, oh, I love this. This is great. This is easy. Whereas I can't imagine that if a Winnipegger came here and like got told work's been cancelled because of the snow, you'd just crack up laughing on the phone.
I can think of 2 times where I'm not going to say work got canceled, but we were in the office and there was a massive snowstorm that sort of hit in the middle of the day. and they basically said, let's send everybody home early. Just as a nice gesture of, okay, get out of here before it gets any worse. We don't want any accidents on the road. But that one time it was bad enough. Like I think we were projecting, a couple of feet of snow over, a 12, 24-hour period. The people who worked overnights in our office, they said, that's exactly their reaction.
My cat just decided to jump up on my knee and miss and dig his claws into my leg. So I thought I'd give a live reaction of that snow.
I saw the facial expression, and then I heard no noise, but I swear I heard something so high-pitched that it could have been a dog whistle.
It was my microphone. He bent the... Yeah, anyway, snow. It was you were getting sent home. I'm loving this. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, the people who worked overnights, they did prepare them, like, just in case this gets so bad, because it's not even a matter of do you want to drive in the snow. It's does the city have enough time to clear the roads, to the point where you're not plowing through it and the snow is higher than your wheels. So they're like, okay, let's open the vending machine up in case anybody needs food, and make sure you get some like pizza deliveries before the evening hits, in case overnight people get stuck there. I don't think it's ever actually happened, but every once in a while you get like that preparedness. But there's pictures, I'm sure everybody's parents tell stories about, back in my day, right? I mean, I don't know what it was like in Australia. Back in my day, we had to fight sharks off with our fists on the way or something. Yeah.
Nowadays we have special shark fighting gloves. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But here is always, if I had to walk to school and there was like a big blizzard, it's like, when I was your age, I walked 30 minutes to school, and you always just sort of roll your eyes at your parents. And now there's this great, Facebook group called Winnipeg Vintage Pictures, where they'll show all these pictures from like decades past. And here's the snowstorm of 1964. And you look at it, and it is like all the way up to people's front windows. And you see a tunnel that's probably about 4 feet high of snow going out somebody's front door. Like, how do you live like that? Like, what happened back then?
I remember, I think Hobart famously had a big snowfall. I think it was like 86, like the year before I was born. And I know like mum and dad showing me all the photos of like our house, like, and again, when I say covered in snow, you're going to laugh at it. But like, I mean, you talk about it being rare to snow here. I woke up to snow on the ground once in my life in Hobart, and it had been, since 1986, since there was like a sea fall level of snow, and it blanketed the entire city. But it's funny, like, I think we've talked about it on the show before, but like, I mean, we kind of had the opposite in summer, because like Hobart's not really a city where it gets extreme heat. I mean, it definitely does a lot more now than it used to, but, I remember once as a kid it got over 40 degrees, and like, you remember a day like that. But I remember in primary school, I used to think it was if it hit 30 degrees you got sent home, but it would surely have to be 35 degrees, because I feel 30-degree days in Hobart are a lot more common than people give it credit for. So I think if it hit 35 degrees, you would get sent home. And I mean, having said that, like, you would only ever really have a window of a couple of weeks in December before school broke for summer, and then maybe like the last couple of weeks of February, because you're kind of at school for like, a couple of weeks of summer really. And I think I remember once getting sent home as a kid because it was that hot. And it was like, it's over 35, kids go home. So, I mean, I don't know if again, it's summer, right? You're not really at school in summer, but do you have extreme heat policies for school?
No, I think by the time it starts getting really hot, like our May and even June is, I guess, mild, warm, but like 20 degrees. When we hit our 30 pluses in the summer, it's usually like into August, I would say. I don't think anything really gets closed down for the heat or the cold here. I can think of one day where it was too cold and they simply said, okay, don't come into school. And then that was like minus 42. Like you woke up, we're not even talking with wind chill, like the temperature was minus 42.
Wow.
And then the next day it was like minus 37. I remember my mom calling the school saying, hey, is school on today? And they're just sort of like, yeah. They were always condescending about it. Come on, minus 40 is the number. Minus 37, that's nothing. That's shorts weather.
I love talking about weather. It's always fun. But before we let you go, just quickly, I think the last time we had a proper segment with just you and no annoying relatives. Hello to Patrick. I should be. That was I had fun with that segment. Patrick will be back. Are you guys still on lockdown there in Winnipeg?
Yeah, they started to ease some restrictions, but it's very minor. Like we're talking like places can open at 10 to 20% capacity. Most businesses are able to open at very reduced capacities. I think it was only about 2 weeks ago where they lifted that. And now already a week later, they're like, okay, let's lift some more. We'd gotten down to like double digit positive cases daily. And today was the first day where it was like triple digits again, but that was like 101, you know? So, I mean, I'm hopeful. Movie theaters, crossing my fingers, movie theaters open potentially by the summer, let's hope. But
it's all right. No Time to Die won't be released. It's all good.
Yeah, exactly. Summer of 2023, No Time to Die, a possibility. But it still feels the same for whatever reason. I think that once you have gone long enough where it's essential shopping only, you don't even necessarily think about it. We went to the mall and we were sort of looking around. I'm like, half of these stores are actually closed anyways. I think that's the big thing, is that it's lasted long enough that a lot of businesses like, you know, we're not going to open up again because we don't want to be shut down in 3 weeks.
I always find it fascinating that Manitoba and Winnipeg, that's happening there. Whereas here, it's kind of like, I feel we were getting worse and the restrictions were like, oh, just don't open past 10 p.m. and you'll be right.
Yeah.
I feel like barely anything has changed here. I mean, I can't go to the movies. I have to have a few less people at my wedding, but that's about it. So
I mean, if you die, maybe you'll feel it more.
have you had a test yet, or have you, Jamie, or anyone had the test yet?
Yeah, Jamie and the twins are the only ones who have had to. I haven't had anything, which is weird because I was, I think from when this started in March until September, I was going into the office every single day still. But I don't really get sick often anyways. I might get sick once a year. And I probably had my one time that year. So I haven't really even shown any symptoms since this started.
And I'm probably going to jinx this by saying this based on, my track record on our shows. But do you know anyone who's even got it? I don't know anyone who's got it at all. And this is taking over the world. I'm like, surely we know someone who's got it.
Yeah. So the day before the lockdown started in Manitoba, we were only at like 7 cases. The 7th case was actually somebody that I knew.
Oh, wow.
So
it was Jamie, was it? Was it Jamie?
It wasn't Jamie, but I was in close proximity with this person, and they said, "Don't worry, we think you're okay." But I had no symptoms after that. But
and you never got the test.
Never bothered to get it. No, I mean, I don't even know how easy it was to get the test at that point. But yeah, I had close affiliation with somebody who was in the first cases in Manitoba, but I can't think of any since then.
Okay, well, when I get it, I'll let you know, and our podcast will have to go into lockdown through shared exposure through audio.
Courier me or use Kleenex.
Yes, I will definitely do that. Always a pleasure, Colin. Thank you, and thank you for not bringing family members this week. All right, we're getting close to close things out. I've still got the wonderfully excitable Mallory Wartworth-Nee Foster sitting next to me. Any update on how the game is going right now?
I got past the part that I was stuck on.
How many balls have you pushed into holes?
2, but now I have a 3rd one.
Sweet. Just a quick update. Tell our listener, look out the window right now. What's it like outside of our window?
It is snowy.
And it has been snowing for nearly 24 hours now. Now, I was told when I moved here that it doesn't snow in Victoria. This is the 2nd time this winter that it has snowed quite significantly. Has everybody just been lying to me?
Yep.
Because this is maybe, is this global warming? Is it the opposite of it? I don't know. Like, have you been here when it snowed a couple of times in a winter?
Sorry, re-ask the question.
Have you been here when it's snowed a couple of times in winter?
It snows every few years, like a lot. We probably get like, I don't know what, like an inch a year would be my like average.
This is definitely more. This is like 30 centimeters worth I've had in the last 24 hours, right? Yes, that was a version of a yes, but it is very wintry and cold. It's great. Although this is different snow. We had snow just before Christmas. That was more gluggy and I felt dirty, and kind of this is more fresh and powdery and all that. We built a snowman today. How was that experience?
It was wonderful.
Does the snowman have a name?
How to build a snowman.
Well, I got told off. She basically goes, "Oh, you've never built a snowman before." I'm like, "Of course I built a snowman." She's like, "You don't even know how to roll snow." And I don't know if when you build snow on Mount Wellington, or build a snowman on Mount Wellington, that you really just, it's a different type of snow. It's just clumpy and you just build it. Why hasn't snowman, the term snowman, been like retconned as being sexist? Shouldn't it be a snow person?
Yes.
Well, in all seriousness, it's 2021 now. You've got to be equal and all that kind of jazz. But I enjoyed it. You didn't have to go to work today. Work was cancelled, so that was an exciting thing. How is the bread delivery going?
It's gonna be awful tomorrow.
Exactly. Do you still enjoy delivering bread?
Yeah.
Awesome. If you're listening, Portofino, proud sponsor of the Brink. Not really, but come on board, be that way. We will be back next week. Let's bring 3 episodes in a row. We'll find out whether Mallory will join us or not. Didn't really show up this week, did you?
You told me I could do this while we were talking.
I did. It's groundbreakingly amazing, I think. Give me another look. I better be careful. Thanks to Mauve. Thanks to Rayne for joining us. More interviews coming your way next week as well, and plenty to keep you excited. If you enjoy this, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe, get on YouTube, hit us up, and get excited for another Brink, because that's what you do. Let's close it out with Miss Excitable. Mallory, do you remember the closing?
Yes. Do we still say Hobart?
You can say whatever you like.
Keep.
You're my wife now, so you can do... Sorry. What yours is mine. The closing as well. I'll shut up. Close the show, Ben. Mallory, that's your name.
Keep sucking those oranges. Hobercargoria. New place.
That works.
Yeah.
And?
Good night.